As our dopamine system gets messed up by social media, it has literally become neurochemically harder to fall in love. So now when I have patients, I tell them, go for a walk for 1 hour before you go on a date and stay off of any technology.
Love that.
Literally, your neuroscientific capacity to fall in love is increased.
What Dr. K said on the Huberman podcast proves the thing that I have been saying for years. All life advice, no matter what aspect of life we are talking about, has to start by addressing the state of our attention.
As our dopamine system gets messed up by social media, it has literally become neurochemically harder to fall in love. So now when I have patients, I tell them, go for a walk for 1 hour before you go on a date and stay off of any technology.
Love that.
Literally, your neuroscientific capacity to fall in love is increased.
Cheap dopamine traps that are set up everywhere I go, everywhere I look around. Am I able to resist the greatest and most impressive entertainment device available to humanity? And that's the smartphone. This is where all life advice and all life improvement has to start. I've been talking about this for years. Doesn't matter if you're reading Marcus Aurelius or Seneca or Nietzsche, or if you're reading Carl Jung or Abraham Maslow. They lack one thing. They lack the context of the age that we are living in. I'm talking about great thinkers that influenced me greatly, and I respect them. They have immensely improved my life. But always while reading them, I would think, okay, this all makes sense. This is changing me for the better. However, if they were alive today, I'm sure they would have to address that the average person gets distracted every 30 seconds. That the average person cannot hold a conversation with another human for longer than a couple of minutes before pulling out their phone. I know that Nietzsche would be writing about that if he was alive today. I know that part of Jungian psychoanalysis would have to be addressing our attention span if Jung was writing today. By the way, I'm aware that Jungian psychoanalysis exists today, but now it's individual practitioners. The head honcho is not alive. If Jung was alive today, I'm convinced that in his writing he would be addressing the problem of attention. And that goes for every single thinker. Seneca would be talking about dating apps, I'm certain. Seneca would be talking about the fact that, yeah, it's human that you get stuck on those dating apps, but maybe you should try go out and meeting someone in the real world. Dr. K said it's literally more difficult to fall in love. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about the fact that every aspect of what it means to be human is different today. And while I want to give all the respect to previous generations, I want to acknowledge their struggles that we don't have today. I want to acknowledge the privilege of the modern age, or a lot of privileges of the modern age. I also want to acknowledge the greatness of these thinkers of the past. But still, one thing remains true. Generations of the past didn't have to struggle with what we are struggling with. Generations of the past, with all the struggles that they have had, I'm not sure they would want to trade them for the experience of getting your mind sucked into an entertainment device where you blink and you have lost 3 hours of your life. And all those thinkers, even though their wisdom is timeless, it lacks context. You cannot just read Carl Jung or Nietzsche or Kierkegaard, and I'm telling you this as someone who did spend thousands of hours reading them and realizing, okay, they gave us so much, but we have our own task, and that is to bring to their wisdom context of our age. And by the way, I find that to be one of my main missions, is to bring the timeless wisdom of the past, to bring it into the context of our age. Because we cannot be talking about love about discipline, about mission, about purpose, about shadow work. We cannot be talking about any of that if you're getting distracted every 30 seconds, every couple of minutes. If you're struggling to put in a 40-minute, 60-minute focused working block, then we really cannot talk about shadow work. We really cannot talk about discovering your higher self. I mean, we will talk about it. And I'm here to make those conversations more accessible to people. But if we want to dive deeper into the journey, if you want to create meaningful relationships, if you want to create something out of ourselves and out of our lives, something more, we have to, once again, bring that challenge, that task, into the context of our age. You will need to reclaim your attention. What does it mean to reclaim something? It means to take it back, because your attention has been stolen, or your attention is being stolen every day. So you need to reclaim your attention. Then you need to train your attention. You need to learn how to keep your attention in your control rather than giving it away constantly. That is the starting point. And trust me, I didn't get into all of this. By all of this, I mean my journey of exploring different schools of psychology and philosophy in order to improve my life and then to improve lives of others. I didn't get into all of this to talk about focus, to talk about how to stop scrolling. I don't find that particularly interesting. That's not a topic that I'm deeply passionate about on its own, but I'm passionate about it because it is necessary. It is our duty and responsibility to talk about it. So I'm telling you, we can talk about the higher self, the true self, authenticity versus inauthenticity, about love, meaningful relationships, creative work, creative pursuit, creative fulfillment, finding your purpose, developing your personal myth. All of that stuff we can talk about, we will talk about. For those of you who want to dive deeper into the journey of becoming who you can be and who you're supposed to be, you will be interacting with all of these topics. But we will be making a massive, massive, massive mistake if we think that we can rely on the wisdom from the past without acknowledging the context of our time. Once again, all life advice has to start with this newly implemented first step, and that is addressing the state of your attention, addressing how much control you have over where you place your attention, how long it stays there, and whether when it's distracted, because inevitably you will get distracted, that's natural. When it's distracted, does it stay there for a couple of minutes or for a couple of hours? I'm not even mentioning the possibility of you being distracted for a couple of seconds. We will get all to that point. I trust we are all going to make it, as people say. We can get to the point of being distracted only for a couple of seconds, but now let's consider being distracted for a couple of minutes rather than a couple of hours. That is the starting point of any and every single life improvement that you can think of. So what I'm inviting you to do is to check out my free exercise, completely free exercise for improving your attention, developing your focus. Please give it a try. And please, no matter what stage of life you're at, no matter what chapter of your life you're at, no matter what your goals are, no matter what your interests are, no matter what your passions are, no matter what your insecurities are, completely regardless of the deeper context of your unique life, let's start by addressing the context of the age that you're living in, because what we are facing right now, the age of overstimulation, hyperstimulation, constant distraction, constant temptations, no generation ever has dealt with something like this, and we need to address it. Give this exercise a try that I will share below. Start developing, or first start reclaiming and then training and developing your attention. And let's all together preserve our humanness and learn to be more fully human again. As always, stay strong, love life, never feel sorry for yourself, protect your mind, light that raging fire in your heart, and always go beyond. Thank you.